G'day and welcome to another report card. We're up to Harry McKay, our big full forward, or our big key forward, one of our key forwards. 24 years of age, he'll be 25 at the start of next season. Him and his brother obviously I think they were the youngest players taken in that 2015 draft. They were particularly young. In fact, they almost missed the draft. Their birthdays in late December. 86 games now across 7 seasons. So he should get his 100th next year. He should. Fingers crossed. And this year played 19 games, the same amount of games that he played last year when he won the Coleman medal. And game span now, he started off really slowly, had those that back issue in his first season, which kept him out for the whole year, really. Only played 2 games in his second season. Brendan Bolton was really reluctant to get him in. 13 in his third year, 20, 13, 19, and 19. We know he comes out of contract at the end of next year. And signed that 2-year deal last year. And the talk then was, 2 years, he then becomes a restricted free agent. It will become a bit of a talking point. It will be. So it is what it is. We'll just have to wait and see what Harry decides to do. I think he's pretty invested in the football club. Well, I would have thought he is, but there's going to be clubs come after him with big offers. Big offers. His season snapshot, he had that foot injury in the pre-season or late in the pre-season and missed both sort of lead-up games, the practice game against St Kilda and then the game against Melbourne at Marvel Stadium, the NAB League game or whatever it was, whatever they call that competition now. The Community Series, I think they may call it. He missed that. So they rolled the dice with him in round 1. I think the plan was just to get him right through round 1. He didn't play well against the Tigers in that first game. He kicked the goal, but was pretty quiet. Both him and Charlie were really quiet. But then strung together, some reasonably good football through from round 1 through to round 8. And then the club got the old sledgehammer out. They eased us into that day on May the 11th. They announced that Matthew Kennedy had signed a 3-year deal, and then at 7:56 that night, bang, 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 bang. The club released a statement saying that McKay would miss 6 weeks, and we were going well at that stage with a lateral meniscus tear, which would require surgery. And in the end, though, he only missed the 3 games. But you throw the bye in there as well. It ended up being like 4 to 5 weeks he was out for. But he missed the Giants win, the Sydney win, and the close loss against Collingwood at the MCG. So the damage wasn't huge. And he returned for the round 13 game against the Bombers, and he looked fine. I think he played pretty well that night against the Bombers at the MCG, and then played the remainder of the season. He made headlines, remember, after we got beaten by Brisbane in round 21. He appeared on Fox Footy on the couch, and he said he believed our season should be judged a successful campaign, even if we missed the finals, and that's exactly what we did. We know he's elite. I mean, the stats sort of show that he's elite in contested marks. It's been a strength of his since he started at Princess Park. Marks on the lead has improved. That's a lead as well. He's above average in goals, 2.4. So he does hit the scoreboard. He can hit the scoreboard. And shots at goal as well, 4.6 is above average. Below average in goal assists and goal accuracy, 51%. It's a bit of a concern. He's not the only key forward, though, who's had, I wouldn't say the yips, but has had problems in front of the big sticks. And it's costly. It really is. It's really costly. We saw that late in the season With some of those set shots, kicking around the body, and not just him, but also Charlie as well. And when we talk about goal assists and goal involvements, comparing to someone like Tom Hawkins, who, big forwards get judged on how much goals they kick, but also setting them up as well. And Tom Hawkins is elite in goal assists and goal involvement. So that's score involvement. So that's an area that we'd probably like Harry to get better at. His best bag of goals, he kicked the bag at 7 last year, but he didn't quite get there this year. Round 17 against the West Coast Eagles, he kicked 5 goals, 3. He was only held goalless once, and that was against the Cats in round 18. He only kicked it behind. If you compare last year, his Coleman medal, he kicked 58-33 from 19 games last year, 45-31 this year. But you've got to take the fact that Charlie, the Charlie factor as well, taking a little bit of pressure on Harry. He wasn't just the main man. Ended up coming fourth in the Coleman medal from his 19 games, but there were 7 players in front of him who played 22 games. So his goal average is pretty good, so he's right up there in regards to the Coleman medal. Thought his best game in terms of having a really big impact was the win against the Bulldogs. I think when you really look at it, that's when we were playing our best football. He had 15 disposals, 5 contested marks, and kicked 4 goals, 1. And I think he really stood up in that loss against the Tigers mid-season. He had 10 disposals, 4 goals. We couldn't buy a goal that night early, and he was the one that really, sort of got us going. His worst game for me was when he had his pants or his shorts pulled down by young Sam DeConning. He was ordinary that night. 9 touches, kicked the 1 behind. He was just bullied by a kid. Strengths, contested marking, no doubt. I think one of the strengths of Harry is he can make an impact on the scoreboard really quickly. Like, his goals come in a hurry. He can really turn a game. Sometimes we just like him to turn a game late to get us the win, but he certainly can get on a roll. And I think his consistency has improved, and his work rate has definitely improved. His engine's pretty good for a big fella, and he does work. He does work up the ground. He's just not an inside 50 type key forward. You can't afford to be that now, but he pushes up the ground and becomes an outlet. We saw a few times early in the year against, I think, Port Adelaide and Hawthorn, where they were coming late, and he was able to take some really strong contested marks up on the wing. I reckon he's too nice. So one of his weaknesses for me, I just think he's aggression. And I'm not saying he's soft. I'm just saying he's just too nice. Like the big power forwards in the competition, the best ones, I think, are the ones who've got a little bit of prick about them. You talk about Tom Lynch and even Hawkins and Buddy, and they got this nastiness about them. But maybe it's just him. It's in his nature. Maybe we'll be fine, but I'd just like to see him be a little bit more intimidating and be more of a he's a great presence in the air. Aerially, he's a great presence, but just really, be really hard and tough and uncompromising. It's a little bit all duck or no dinner, and I think the stats suggest that unless he's kicking goals and taking contested marks, he doesn't do a lot else. His pressure's not great. He's a big fella, and I think his goal assists and score involvements are way down as well. So can he get involved in other ways, just other than kicking goals? And obviously the goal accuracy thing, and I'm not going to go through that, but it is a concern. It is a bloody concern. In taking all that, though, into consideration, I suppose it's a bit of a balance trying to assess Harry in regards to our front half, because there's a huge reliance this year on Harry and Charlie. We didn't get a lot offensively from our small forwards, and our we haven't really got hybrid forwards, but we didn't get a lot offensively from. Martin wasn't there a lot of the time, and then Jack doesn't kick goals. So there's a huge burden on both Harry and Charlie. To be the ones to kick us a winning score, yeah, I just don't think that's. I don't know if that's sustainable. Um, yeah, I think that's an issue for us. I really do. And as much as Charlie and Harry are stars, they're stars. They're not going to do it by themselves all the time, and I think that's pretty easy to defend against. One word: consolidation. I mean, he didn't quite reach the heights of last year, but he wasn't the main focus. Was he at his absolute best? Probably not. I think the fact that he only went goalless once suggests that he started to find a bit of a consistent level. But at 25 years of age, like Matthew Kennedy, it's all in front of him now, and it's, individually it's all in front of him, but now team focus, like this career, it'll get away from these guys pretty quickly. It will, and he's out of contract, and we'd also like to know, is the big fella in for the long haul? We'll get a sense of that, obviously, next year. I've given him a 7 out of 10. It could have been a 7.5 out of 10, but I just didn't think he quite, dominated games at important stages to get us over the line. So it's a 7 out of 10 for Big Harry. Let us know what you guys think in regards to the season of Harry McKay. And also, do you think he's going to be around for a long time at our football club, considering he's going to be out of contract next year? Catch you soon.